Good evening to you and a warm welcome if you're just joining. We start with this. Major General Marga van Rooyen, the head of legal services at the South African Police Service, has raised serious issues about the decision of the Police Minister Senzo Mchunu to disband the political killings task team. She was giving evidence at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry today. Let's get more now on the wrap of what has been discussed there throughout the day. Vuyo Mvoko is my colleague at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Vuyo, good evening to you. The Minister of Police, well, should we say the suspended Minister of Police, Senzo Mchunu, had no right to disband the political killings task team. That message becoming more and more clearer today. Tell us more.
Indeed, Oli, it was day 6 of the Madlanga Commission here at the Bridget Mabandla Justice College, and proceedings ended fairly early, well, certainly earlier than usual, due in large part to, of course, the forthrightness of the witness who didn't have, information didn't have to be dragged out of her hair. She was forthright, she was straight to the point. When she was asked about what she thought of that decision by the Police Minister Senzo Mchunu to disband the political killings task team, she didn't beat about the bush. This is what she said.
I am of a view that the decision to disband the PKTT as a task team lay within the exclusive authority of a national commissioner, and that the minister did not have the legislative authority to disband the PKTT, let alone the manner in which he did. I say so for the following 6 reasons, one of which is in the alternative. Firstly, Section 206 of the Constitution enshrines the role of a minister primarily as that of providing policy direction at the national and provincial level. The Minister of Police is not a technocrat. His or her role is to advance the development of legislation and national police policy, particularly in respect of key issues that require executive attention. Therefore, a minister is empowered to select which areas warrant specialized intervention and attention, such as cash in transit, illegal mining, gangsterism, etc. However, a minister cannot prescribe or direct at an operational level, how policy is to be implemented. That is to be left to the National Commissioner, especially in view of the fact that this relates to the distribution and deployment of resources and has financial implications, which falls within the exclusive authority of a National Commissioner.
She then went on to remind the Commission of what the 2 previous witnesses, that is Lieutenant General Madlanga Commission of KwaZulu-Natal, and of course what the head of the SAPS, General Masemula, told the Commission before they came before it.
In their evidence before the Commission, both the National Commissioner and Provincial Commissioner have testified that they were not consulted before the decision was taken by the Minister. In his evidence, Lieutenant General Mchunu provided the Commission with a letter by the Director of Public Prosecutions, Advocate Harrison, where she queried if the PKTT still exists, again revealing a major stakeholder who was not consulted. Assuming that the evidence is accepted, it speaks to a lack of consultation of relevant stakeholders concerning the disbandment.
She then went on to say while General Masemula was never consulted, he initially had no reason to suspect foul play or wrongdoing. He had no sense of what was driving the minister to take such a drastic decision and in the manner that he took it. But of course, later on, events unfolded, which, as far as she's concerned, began to explain the decision.
The National Commissioner had no reason to doubt the bona fides of a minister at the time of a direction or directive, or to second-guess the motives of a minister. The apparent motives for the directive only became evident later. The reasonableness of the conduct of a National Commissioner in this regard ought to be considered within the context of the circumstances at the time, and as he indicated, he was surprised by the directive and the lack of explanation for the decision. However, the difficulties that flowed from the Minister's directive cannot be attributed to a lack or failure of oversight mechanisms. It is attributable to factors that came to light much later and on account of discoveries from the ongoing investigation testified to by the National Commissioner. These discoveries point to both the Minister's and General Sibiya's conduct. In this regard, the National Commissioner testified at paragraph 182.2.
Sorry, 184?
184.2. Subsequent phone records obtained from an attempted murder accused revealed communications implicating Lieutenant General Sibiya in the forceful and immediate implementation of a minister's directive to disband the PKTT. These records suggested that Sibiya's actions were not merely procedural, but rather tied to deeper connections with individuals identified as members of a criminal cartel. The timing and urgency of his compliance appeared to align with imperatives to shield cartel members from ongoing investigations.
She then went on to talk about the impact that the decision, in fact, both the decision and how Minister Mchunu wanted this done, in other words, done immediately, how all of that had an impact on not only policing in general, but also the work of the political killings task team. The consequences and repercussions that decision and the way it was taken had on the pending cases and the dockets, of course, accompanying all of that.
Consistent with any prescript that you are aware of, whether it's the national instructions or other directives, is it consistent with any of those for dockets to be taken from a province or a unit or a task team and be stored at national office for a period of up to 5 months without any investigations taking place?
No, Commissioner, it is not. And I think the first reason that raises alarm is it means the investigations are stagnant. Nothing is happening. On that investigation, you would expect the police to proceed as fast as possible and make a breakthrough. But the longer the dockets remain unattended, the more difficult it becomes to investigate that cases properly. Evidence gets lost, witnesses forget with time, and therefore the investigation, any investigation, will be detrimentally affected if it is stored somewhere and no attention it doesn't receive attention in the furtherance of the investigation.
Is that not, in your view, tantamount to the suppression of investigations?
It may very well be, yes.
Yes, then please proceed from 105.
Therefore, the appropriateness of a directive to handle these dockets in such a manner when their contents stood to destabilize and potentially implicate senior politicians and established business persons should be determined by the Commission. Fourthly, the PKTT was created in collaboration. It has its genesis in President Ramaphosa's tasking of an interministerial committee comprising of the Ministers of Police, SSA, Defence and Military Veterans, Justice and Correctional Services to establish a multidisciplinary team to address the ongoing scourge of political killings in KZN.
Well, in her view, when all has been said and done, the focus, she believes, should be on where the minister's authority starts and ends, and where the National Police Commissioner's authority starts and ends, and perhaps less so about whether or not the directive was taken and by who, and whether that was legal or not. She said that was important because at the end of the day, it's about the work of the police and the entire criminal justice system that has to be done and shouldn't be compromised. She then implored the Commission to actually focus on that, because the South African Police Service and all its sister organizations will outlive any minister, will outlive any national police commissioner. So if there's anything that has to happen out of this process, it is ensuring that that demarcation of duties, authority, and responsibilities actually takes center stage in the proceedings that we are going to see unfolding over the next few days, weeks, and probably months.